Hey everybody out there. Just giving you guys a heads up, giving you a warning. I messed up the audio on this review. The next one too. In fact, you know what? I'm going to be putting this intro in front of both videos. This is for both Highest to Lowest, the Spike Lee movie, as well as The Long Walk, the Stephen King film. And for both of these reviews, I just messed up. My mic, the gain was turned halfway up. Normally I keep it all the way down, and somehow during transportation, I guess, it got turned way up, and so the audio is peaking through a lot of this video, and it sounds genuinely bad, and I apologize for that. I'm going to do my best to condense these reviews down to just the best parts, and hopefully you're still able to enjoy a review. If not, I really am sorry. I still think there is some worth in posting these because you get to be a part of the conversation. We had a lot of fun talking about both these movies. I almost didn't post them. I almost just threw out the whole audio, but I enjoyed the conversations enough that I wanted to keep them alive and post them, even if they don't sound great. So I am sorry for how these videos sound. I will try to do better in the future and not let that happen again. Here are our first thoughts. I never thought I'd ever compare a movie to Megalopolis on this channel, but we're doing it today. Well, that was a movie. I'm Simon, this is Justin, and today we're giving our first thoughts on Spike Lee's new joint, Highest to Lowest. It's, of course, starring Denzel. Who else? And it's also got Jeffrey Wright. That's it for, like, the main famous people, but it's also got a couple of people you recognize here and there.
It's got A$AP Rocky and Ice Spice for a second.
Yeah, it's also got
Rick Fox.
Mayhem from Allstate.
Oh, yes.
way too many references to that, by the way. So, we watched this movie, but I went into it knowing that audiences kind of detest this movie. It's got a 5.7, but critics gave it a 71, I think, percent. And as somebody who tends to lean more toward critics than audiences, I went, well, surely the critics have seen something in this movie that the audiences didn't quite pick up on. Man, I think the audiences were being nice. This movie sucked. Holy shit. That's why I brought up Megalopolis. I did also bring up to you during it The Room. But the difference between this and The Room is they're all no-name people. It's Tommy Wiseau, Greg Sestero. In Megalopolis, you've got people like, Adam Driver and Shia LaBeouf and Aubrey Plaza and I think Dustin Hoffman and like great actors delivering some of the worst dialogue in some of the worst ways you've ever seen. That's why this reminds me more of that, because Denzel, everybody knows, not a controversial opinion, great actor.
Phenomenal.
Jeffrey Wright, I love Jeffrey Wright. In fact, I would probably say I like Jeffrey Wright even more than Denzel. Love him.
Wow.
This movie made both of them look like it was their first time acting. Holy shit. It was bad.
There's a lot of incredible acting choices by Denzel.
Oh my God, yes. And when you say choices, all I can think of is the scene when he flipped his hat around and dapped, I think, his son on the way out the door. Or was it Jeffrey Wright he dapped up? I forget. One or the other. It was so painful. But yeah, no, this was astounding. And I swear, I really think, like, they read the script day of and just went with the first take on everything. Because that's how it came across, was there was no preparation, no forethought in how these characters felt or what they were thinking. It was just, ooh, here's a line, how would I do that? And most of the time it was just boring or flat, but sometimes it was so ridiculous that you're just like, they literally just went with the weirdest thing they could come up with.
And you see, I appreciate that, because otherwise this movie would really be unredeeming.
Yeah, well, it still sucked. And it's funny because, like, I would argue there are two good scenes-ish in this movie. Another reason it reminds me of Megalopolis is at times that movie is astoundingly good. And you're like, oh, there's Francis Ford Coppola. I see him in this movie. And Spike Lee, similarly, is a fantastic director. And you're like, how could you possibly make a bad movie, this bad of a movie? And then every once in a while, a scene just crept through and he went, oh, see, there's good filmmaking. I found it for a second. But this movie, so quickly, anytime it accidentally did something good, apologized profusely by doing the dumbest thing he could do next. Holy shit. Oh, God, this movie was so bad. Wow.
This was an incredible movie in all the wrong ways.
It really was.
I feel like I've seen a lot of Denzel movies. In a way, I haven't seen a lot of other people's movies. By far the worst Denzel movie I've ever seen.
I'm not shocked. I feel like...
It's not even close.
I'm not saying every movie he's in is great.
No, but like, it's not even close.
He picks scripts that usually make sense, you know? Or like they're competent.
Yeah.
And I swear the only reason he did this movie, or anybody did this movie, was because Spike Lee was directing it. They're like, well, I trust him. He's got to make at least a competent movie. But it was one of the worst scripts ever written. And I know it's based on something, but it's like something good. This is a remake of a movie that was based off of a book. There's several adaptation layers here. This is so bad. So painfully bad. And the directing is also astoundingly bad, which, like, just doesn't make sense coming from Spike Lee. And then lastly, I don't think I've ever pointed out more than once in a movie if the scoring is bad. I'll be like, oh, that music's not good, and then I'll stop thinking about it. This soundtrack will not let you not think about it. The first thing I said to you was, as a joke, I went, do you think the composer was allowed to see the movie before he made the score? And I just said that because there was a scene, and I'm like, this doesn't really, like... You know, normally when there's beats in a song, it follows the beats of the scene. And the first thing I noticed was there's no correlation between the beats or cadence or pacing of the song and the scene that it's overlaid. And I went, that's interesting. I wonder what that's about. And then... that was as good as it got. It got a lot worse than that very quickly. There was like, fuck any sort of like relationship between the song and the scene. There's something that could have been and should have been artistic. They had like the longest solo shot I've seen in a long time where it's just Denzel and his son talking. And it's just it's a unbroken shot of them sitting in the room talking.
Yeah.
And I should have been distracted by that and how much work went into the acting and directing of that. Maybe not so much directing because it's just two people talking and the camera's not moving at all. But meanwhile, you've got what sounds like the beginning of a musical solo. Like, watching like High School Musical or actually it sounded like Tick, Tick, Boom or one of those where I'm like, I'm ready for them to stand up and start going like, this is why I feel this way. And it's like, what is this song? What is it? And what does it have to do with the conversation? And then not only that, the scene ends and Denzel walks out to Jeffrey Wright on the balcony and the song still goes. There is no correlation whatsoever between the music and the movie that it is playing over.
Oh, why would there be? Listen,
I don't know.
Listen, this movie needed one particular thing from the soundtrack outside of the occasional James Brown. All right? It needed some free, various piano music. Just give me a library.
Violins too.
Yeah. We'll toss in some violins there, but primarily, give me a collection of some various genre piano music, just mostly piano based.
Yeah.
And God damn it, I'll get you a score.
You say various genre. I think it was two. I think it was High School Musical, and it was fucking Medieval Times. Like that was it.
I got not just High School Musical, but like it was like the piano intro into like an emotional solo songs.
Yeah, the main characters
they just
like
step off
sidebar solo.
Like the lights.
Yeah,
they get the spotlight on them.
Yeah.
Everyone's standing on stage still at the same time, but they're just pretending they can't hear them.
I was waiting for Zac Efron to tell me why he wanted to sing in a musical and play basketball at the same time. That's what I was ready for.
Oh gosh, but then yes, also the Renaissance Fair. That's some classic stuff there.
Holy hell! And that song repeated. That song came back later. And I was like, why are we doing that again? It's like they only had 4 songs. And they just were like, well, I don't know. Put that one there.
The other one I got was super, super slow jazz, like weight room music.
Yeah. Oh, God, it's so human. I gotta open the door. Are you dying? I'm dying. I don't know how to react. I've never complained about a score like that before. I just couldn't believe my ears.
That was some insane choices for it then to drop into some. I guess he did mention James Brown, so there's clearly a reason. But
oh boy, did he mention James Brown?
They fit. They sounded good in the scenes.
Oh my God, the James Brown song. It starts and well, okay, the first James Brown song I immediately recognized, but there's a second James Brown song, I think.
Yeah.
That I didn't immediately recognize. I'm like, that's it. Now is some good music, and then you hear James Brown, and you're like, oh, because they didn't write it. This song is pre-existing. I actually had to look up the guy who did the score. I forget his name. I'm not going to check again. But he has been doing stuff since the 90s, including some Sonic the Hedgehog video games. But this is only his 5th movie he's ever done.
Interesting. Sonic the Hedgehog video games.
So, I get, like, video games, the soundtracks are just, here's the scene, here's a song for the scene. You don't have to worry about it lining up because you don't know how long the character's going to remain in that scene or what they're going to do in any moment. So he's probably just used to like, oh, scene, song for that scene.
Yeah.
And it'll just keep going and going and going until whenever we feel like cutting it off. He's done 5 movies though. Most of them had 5 stars though, I noticed. He's not good at what he does. He's just not.
He knocks out those 5-star scores. Knocks them right out.
Oh, God.
You need one, call him.
It was so bad. I literally questioned if it was royalty free. It sounded like it was royalty free. It was so bad.
It really did. And just how repetitive it seemed at times.
Yeah. But let's move on from the scoring because we could literally spend an hour complaining about that, and there's so many things to complain about. The editing of this movie, atrocious and confusing. There was so many moments, especially in the first half, but throughout, where shots would just linger like, oh, something's about to happen. And then it would cut away. And you're like, huh? Why did we hold there? Are we like, dude, we were talking about, we had all these like theories and suspicions going on just because the way the editing framed certain characters, you thought they had to be evil or something because like, what am I supposed to be noticing here?
Yeah.
Nope, nothing. This plot is as straightforward as you can make it out to be. That's a spoiler, I guess, but who gives a shit? We're getting into spoilers now because I don't want to pretend. It's a 3. I'm giving it a 3, and I feel like that's generous. Justin?
You know what? I'll go 4 because it made me laugh.
It's a terrible reasoning, but all right. So we're going to get into spoilers. I don't think you really care, but you should go see it. It's terrible. You'll have to go out of your way to find it. It's not playing in most theaters, and now I know why.
You don't need to go out of your way to find this.
Excuse me. I had a burrito earlier. No, seriously. One of the worst movies you will ever see. And it's amazing because it's by such good people. It's confusing. It's mind-boggling. But anyway, we're getting into spoilers now. If you don't forever, whatever reason, want anything spoiled, then keep going. Click away, go watch it, come back, and we can talk about it then. Thanks, guys. Bye. So, spoilers. What ends up happening is his son and Jeffrey Wright, his like best friend, his son, they both are on the same basketball team, which has 100 kids on it, by the way.
Yes.
Crazy. And they leave to get lunch during the middle of practice. They sneak out. They're not supposed to, but they want to go get... One wants a burger, I think, and one wants a pizza. I forget.
One wants pizza and one wants a chopped cheese.
Okay, so a not good cheesesteak. Okay. And so they split up and one gets kidnapped, and everybody assumes it's Denzel's kid. It's supposed to be Denzel's kid, but Denzel's kid's headband was being worn by his best friend because I guess they're secret gay lovers or something, because why else would you swap headbands?
He was having a sweaty day, man. You know?
I don't know why that would happen, but anyway. So the kidnapper kidnaps the wrong kid because even though he stalks his kid, social media knows exactly what he looks like. He grabbed the wrong kid because he was wearing a green headband.
Well, I mean, he saw the headband. Remember, he knew the wife's jewelry, you know.
He also said you can't trust the help.
Oh, yeah, he did say that.
Who was helping him? We never get into that.
No, but there's a huge network of people, unless it's just the same couple of motorcycle drivers.
I think it was just 2 guys on 2 motorcycles.
It started to feel that way with the exact same outfits.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell if they were doing that or trying to make it seem like there was a collective of like 20 people.
It seemed like there was supposed to be a lot of people, but man,
because,
it was really poorly organized because hilariously, Mayhem guy is trying to get through this crowd, this parade, and they're like, boom, 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 and then he finally gets out of the crowd, and they're right in front of him. They had half an hour to get fuck all across New York City.
The craziest shit is, I swear they lose him 2 more times
and
end up driving directly back onto the road after a swap.
Yeah. It's so dumb. But anyway, we're so sidetracked.
No, but before we... I do one thing. This whole movie, they make it seem like this is a one-man plot of this one guy. Because you only hear... Not really spoiler. A$AP Rocky's the villain.
We're in spoilers,
character.
it's fine.
Well, yeah, A$AP Rocky's the villain character.
Yeah.
So he does the ransom call, and you hear his voice, and you only ever hear his voice.
Yeah.
And they never say it's a collective or anything, but he's the one looking for the $17.5 million.
Yeah.
And then there's this giant collective, and I'm like, oh damn, that 17.5 is getting broken down pretty far.
Except it didn't. He just had the whole thing in a suitcase under his bed.
Well, they caught him, but like, did he snitch? There's a whole ring of people out there.
I don't know. But anyway, so they find out first, like, there's a couple of steps here where, so, Denzel believes his son has been kidnapped, and Jeffrey Wright, they, like, refer to him as Uncle Paul. Like, they treat him like an uncle even though they're not related. And so when his son is kidnapped, he's like, it's like my son was kidnapped. I went, because your son was kidnapped. But anyway, they then find out, oh, your son wasn't kidnapped, and they're, like, rejoicing, and he's, like, praying. And that was the first moment where I was like, we kept on a shot 5 seconds too long. And that's when I went, like, is Jeffrey Wright the bad guy? Because why are we showing this for so long? What is going on? And there was multiple shots that just, the editing of it didn't make sense. And yes, we're still talking about editing. We got really distracted. We're talking about editing in this motherfucker. The whole movie for the first part is talking about this deal that needs to go down. And then Denzel gets a phone call and he goes out onto his balcony. And it doesn't even, like, actually, I forget if the phone rings when he's inside or if it rings when he's outside.
I think it was outside.
You don't hear anything because it's through the balcony, like, window door. And then we just see him talking casually. And you're like, this is an interesting editing choice, but what's going on here? And then he comes back in and he starts going, they got my son. They got my son. And I'm like, is he lying? I swore he was lying for half the movie. I thought this was all a setup.
That would have been really interesting. I'm like, oh, is this a way for him to get extra money? Maybe he can get ransom from somewhere else and then use that to further save the... I was like, oh, this is a really interesting track now.
Yeah, no, I really seriously kept looking for the secret bad guy behind, like, the puppet master, like, Denzel's the bad guy. Oh, wait, no, Jeffrey Wright's the bad guy. Oh, wait, no, the cop's the bad guy. And no, it's just A$AP.
When you said Jeffrey Wright, you thought he was the bad guy at times?
Yeah.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
Especially when they are speaking to his son in the hospital for a split second. When Denzel comes in with a song, he's like, "Was this a song?
Yeah.
Oh, I recognize this guy."
Yeah, and he starts texting to somebody.
Yeah, I thought he was texting that guy like they got your image, hideout or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he walked out with him like, okay, yeah, I guess they're gonna go get him now, but. I started thinking, maybe they're in on it together. He's going to get the 17.5 out of his friend, and there's going to be some resentment in their past or something. And
no, like he blames him for his wife dying for some reason, so he's extorting him for the money. No, nothing. This movie is not complicated at all. It just pretends it is with how poorly edited and written it is. And it's amazing to see such talented people make such a bad movie. It really is fascinating. Because, like I said, and alluded to, there's like 2 good scenes here. I think the scene, you may laugh at me and disagree, but the scene in the recording studio, in the booth, between A$AP and Denzel, not well written. It's not, but the charisma of Denzel powered through that scene so hard that I love that scene. I really did. And then immediately they go back to medieval times outside. I'm like, holy shit, this sucks.
Well, we were having a shootout in the chase scene, so it was time for medieval times.
Yeah, it was so bad. And then the other scene, like I said, the good stuff has to be immediately ruined. Because the other scene I liked was on the train the first time. And so he's like, all right, you need to go back and you need to drop it. And and then immediately gets ruined because... So what happens is he's like, all right, go in between the 2 cars. And he goes in and he's like, all right, now what? He's like, you're going to drop it when I tell you to. And he goes like, drop it? I'm not going to drop it. And then somebody inside the train pulls the emergency brake.
I'm pretty sure that was supposed to be A$AP. There's just some black guy in the back, and I just thought that was supposed to be ASAP.
I didn't notice if it was him or not.
It didn't show his face at all. I just figured that was supposed to be him.
Well, then who was on the fucking bikes?
Well, that's the thing. At the time, I didn't know there was a whole bike gang. It was just the guy on the phone, and I realized that was ASAP, and I'm just like, oh, I guess that's ASAP in the back pulling the thing. But then how he magically would get him to that location.
Yeah, and that's what it immediately pulled me out of it. I was like, how did they time that perfectly, and how did they know he was going to drop it?
Yeah, because they just had it around his arm a little bit.
Yeah.
Not a chance.
And then, so then it falls perfectly down.
Yeah, you better hope it doesn't get hooked on anything on the way down.
Yeah, lands on the biker, and then they start playing hot potato with it for 5 years.
But even better, the first guy that catches it, right? He's standing under there perfectly, catches it, hands it to a guy on a bike for him to toss it off, and then immediately goes back into his spin move with the girl he's dancing with. Because they're like, it's the Puerto Rican day festival under there or something like that. And or Heritage Festival under there. And he's just immediately in his spin move, he catches this shit, hands it off, and gets back in.
Another reason why that was one of the only good scenes, by the way, was because the music wasn't by the composer. They were playing music from the festival, and I'm like, this flows, and they clearly edited the scene to this song, and it sounds good, it's flowing. The only other time that happens is the James Brown scenes.
Yeah,
and you're like, okay, the music here's good too.
Wait, you gonna say those weren't times of the scene? Come on, people.
It was just a really bad scene though, because they're just driving, and the whole purpose of the scene is to have a scene where they listen to James Brown in the car. Because you did not need that scene. It's just them two sitting in the car driving, and then he starts like shadow boxing. To the James Brown song, and I'm like, what the fuck are we doing?
The shadowboxing thing has been interesting because he was doing that a few times throughout the movie. And I'm just like,
times.
Why?
Yeah, it never made sense. Not once.
But
one
of course,
time.
The James Brown makes perfect sense because remember, he walked into that room with all of his musical idols and said, "What would you do, James Brown?" As he
It was so painfully bad. He just goes in after this awful musical moment with his son. He goes because his son yells at him saying, just pay the ransom for my friend. Everybody's going to blame me for his death.
Black Twitter was already blaming him.
Black Twitter is going to blame me for his death. So you need to pay the ransom. And then he yells at him. And then he's thinking about it, though. Like, I don't know, maybe I should do it. Just moral obligation. So he's in there and he's like, Denzeling it up. And then he goes, what would you do, James Brown? What would you do, Aretha Franklin? What would you? And he just starts asking the pictures on the wall, and then he pulls the pictures off the wall like, you gotta talk together, because I can't talk to either one of you.
Yeah, I could not tell who he grabbed, and then a few minutes later, they showed that he has his own Rolling Stone cover. So I'm hoping he grabbed his own Rolling Stone cover to try to have it talk to the picture of his son. At least that would make a little more sense. I
thought it was just like James Brown and Aretha needed to talk to each other or something.
Well, I knew one of them was his son's picture, but I swore he took James Brown off the wall to have James Brown talk to his son up until I saw that he had his own.
Oh, God, that was hilarious. And so out of left field. I was like, what are we doing? Because for the most part, Denzel is, quintessential Denzel. He's very stoic, he's very poised, he's very no nonsense, and just a badass. Like when he's talking to his son and he bumps into his forehead, it was straight out of Fences, like we're doing that shit again. And he's like such a good moment that's distracted by terrible music. But then there's just these weird random moments throughout where I'm like, was Denzel bored? What happened here? So he's just screaming at the painting or the pictures on the wall, which felt like it wasn't scripted. Like they just went, do something. I don't know, pictures.
What would you do, James Brown?
And then similarly, we referenced it earlier, they're like, all right, we're going to go do the drop-off. All right. And he's just dressed like a Yankees fan because there's a Yankees game. So he's trying to kind of blend in. He's just got a jacket on. He's got the backpack. He put on his Yankee hat. And he's just like, all right, I'm ready to do the drop-off. And they're like, be safe or be cool or something. Maybe that's what they said. Maybe that was the joke. I don't think that's what they said. But he just grabs the hat, flips it around, goes like, yeah, dude, I'm gonna be cool. I'm like, what just fucking happened?
I gotta say, did it also strike you as weird, strange difference in tone he spoke to ASAP on the phone with when it was his kid kidnapped versus the other kid?
Oh, he was a complete asshole.
Yeah, it was just like, no, 17.5? Come on, cut me some slack.
Yeah,
I can't
come
pay
on,
that.
dude. Yeah, no, he didn't give a shit if that kid died or not.
It's not my kid. I thought the other guy was going to just
fucking
destroy
kill
him.
Yeah. Dude, that's why I was like, Jeffrey Wright had every reason to be the bad guy in this story.
Because it would have been interesting if he turned out to be the villain. It was like, I knew this is how you would react if my kid was taken.
Yeah.
If it was mine,
give the
it's
respect
yours.
to me that I give to you and yours. Yeah, that would have been fine. This movie didn't know when to end. It went on an extra 15 minutes past its expiration date.
I still love that I thought it was going to end before A$AP Guy got shown. He's just staring out the window that one scene. I'm like, wait, is this the end of the movie?
I don't know. It was so bizarre. So many bizarre things happened in this movie. I just didn't care about any of it. Like, I realized, like, during I think it was a conversation between them in the prison. I think that's when I said out loud, why do I care about this? Because I don't.
It was pretty odd to have the music video before that.
Yeah, I was very confused by that. And then Denzel's just like, there's another one of his goofy moments that I just did not get. Yeah, popping his collar, making goofy faces, like, this dope dude. Like, what? What is happening? Also, if you want to make this guy, like, pop off, have 1 billion listens in a week, maybe make the song good. That's also a possibility.
Hey, from the back to the front, back, whatever it was.
Whatever the fuck he said, it was pretty bad. And I'm not saying, like, all A$AP songs are bad, but that one was. That was clearly just, we need a song for the movie. All right, here you go. Here's one. It was bad.
Oh, gosh.
You're trying to tell me that got 1 billion? He's the most streamed artist that week?
Hey, what'd they say? Attention is the best form of currency in this business.
Stupid.
All right? A$AP is exactly where Denzel was like a day ago. But Denzel has changed now because...
Is he?
I mean, that's what I was led to assume at the end.
I don't think.
But that conversation at the end where A$AP's mirroring his thing and he's like, nah, because like he's trying to save his business, and by the end, he's finally, because at the beginning, I guess he never told his wife that he was trying to save the business. He told her that they were gonna like dial it back, kind of retire a bit, spend more time with the family. Then he sprung it on her. But at the end, he came fully around. It's like, I'm selling my stake. I'm going to open up a smaller business. It's going to be a family record label. I'm going to get back to focusing on the music. He's changed, but like I haven't really seen what made him change. Because, I
know what made him change.
He was...
It was Jake from State Farm.
Yeah,
what?
It's insurance. Yeah, it's insurance.
This is my Jake from State Farm. And then he gives him the pistol, and he pulls out another one, and he's like, what's that? Mayhem. And we were already dying about the Jake thing because the one cop is played by the guy who plays Mayhem in those Allstate commercials. Yeah. And so we were making jokes about that the whole movie. And then he goes, it's Jake from State Farm. I'm like, oh my God. And then he's like, and this one? It's Mayhem. And I'm like, holy shit. They had to have added that in there after the fact. It was so painful.
I like to think they presented Mayhem with the script and said, listen, if you sign on, we're going to keep this line and this scene in here. I guarantee it.
Also, I found out why that actor has no career outside of the commercials. He was acting exactly the same in this movie as he would in one of those commercials.
Yeah, but like, there's a perfect career in television and various small-time movies and that.
Playing that awful cop character.
Well, whatever character. A lot of people play that.
There was so much.
You could have him be like the villain of the week for a few TV shows. People make careers off that.
There was so many weird things that happened in this movie with, like, I thought, like, we already mentioned villains and stuff, but, like, at one point they get in the back of the cop cars to go to the train station to do the drop-off. And Jeffrey Wright gets in the back of a cop car, and a cop gets in the back with him. And then they just, like, stare at each other for a while in the middle of the ride. I'm like, does he know something? Are they working together secretly? Is he on it too? What's going on? Nothing. They were just staring at each other in the back of a car, and we had to show that for 30 seconds. It was a bizarre movie, man.
I still can't grasp this journey of Denzel. It's just, okay, I need to save my record label. I'm going to sell everything we have basically to save the record label. Everything's on board. Everything's going to work out. Ah, shit, my son's kidnapped. I'm going to sell everything we have to save my son. We're going to do this. It's our son. Oh, it's his son? Yeah. Screw that. All right. A bunch of people tell me I'm kind of mean. Yeah. And the cops tell me, you can at least just lie and say you're going to give the money, give us like an extra day.
Yeah.
But after, I guess, all that wearing down, I decide I'll do it as long as I can get my money back.
Yeah.
They lose the money, and we spend the rest of the movie tracking down the money.
Yeah.
I don't see any sign of the rest of the movie that he's doing that from care for
literally, that's what I said. Like
Jeffrey or
during the final act of the movie, I went, why do I care about any of this?
He's just going after his money.
I don't like the main character. None of the decisions have been interesting or good.
Yeah.
It's just stupid people doing stupid things, and I don't like any of them except for Jeffrey Wright was cool, but like I even barely got to know him, so maybe he's not cool. Like I just assumed he was.
Yeah, all I know about Jeffrey Wright his character is he's a father. His wife died. Mm-hmm. He's really good friends with that guy because they kind of take care of him in some ways, and he's Muslim.
Yeah, he's religious. Yeah, that's all we get to know about him. He seems cool, but like, maybe he's a piece of shit too. The rest of them seem like it.
There wasn't any more depth to him than that. But,
no. What a bizarre, silly movie this was.
Let's very quickly talk about that transition.
George Lucas would have creamed his pants if he saw that. Holy shit. Yeah, no, it's just like, we've gotten through about half an hour plus of this movie because the sun's already back and safe when this happens. And then randomly, the record label logo just goes streaking across the screen to take us not just a wipe cut. No, it's not a wipe cut. It is a logo wipe cut. And guess what? They never fucking do it again. They never even do another fancy transition again. That's the only time they do anything like that.
They did the logo twice.
The logo, but it wasn't a wipe across. It was the logo literally on a wall, and they just kind of filmed it.
They did the logo wipe twice, and then the logo on the wall once.
They don't make a habit of doing that in this movie. Like most of the transitions are just standard cut.
Yeah, no, it's just the random two times.
We're here,
it's
now
not
we're here.
On the wall. It's not the actual logo. It's just random.
Yeah.
Once or twice it comes across the screen. And it's just why?
So bizarre. I just didn't understand any decision of this movie making process. And there was not one moment while watching it that I went, I understand why they did that. I don't think there was a single moment that happened. Although, actually, I will say, Nicholas Turturro, he's the noisiest Yankees fan on the train. And he, at one point, breaks, you saw this in one of the trailers, I think, but he breaks the fourth wall to turn to the camera, because they're all going, fuck Boston, fuck Boston. And he just turns to the camera and shouts it, or like, Boston sucks, or whatever they're saying. And as a filmmaker who's also very into sports, I'm like, I would so do a Dallas sucks chant in a movie just to fucking do it. But that's like, the whole movie felt like just to get to do that scene. And if we're doing that, Spike, sorry, Mr. Lee, just make a commercial. Make a commercial for MLB Network or something. And be like, look, I guess you can't swear on that. But okay, make just a YouTube video then. I don't know. God. Yeah, what a weird little movie. Highly enjoyable once. I don't think I'll ever want to watch it again, but I enjoyed the hell out of it. Just raising my hands like I'm in worship because I'm so confused by what the fuck is happening.
I kind of want to watch it again for all the wrong reasons. I don't think I actually will, but kind of want to.
It's begging to be a drunk review, and the problem is I don't do those really anymore. Not like I used to, but it's begging to be one.
Yeah, this would fit right in there.
Oh man, it's bad. Anyway, that's all the time we had. I'm sure we could have kept talking for another hour about this. It's so weird and so bad and so strange that, like I keep saying, such a talented group of people were so bad. Like, I mean, obviously, like we said, Denzel, he's able to shine through a couple moments. Jeffrey Wright too, but even them two are mostly bad in this movie. Mostly. Strange. Yeah. Very strange. Also, ASAP, we didn't mention anything about him. He's a rapper, not an actor, and it shows. That's all he reminded me of MGK in his movies. Same acting level.
He was fine to me.
Yeah.
Wasn't noticeably bad with the rest of this movie.
Yeah, he kind of fit right in, honestly. But yeah, so we're going to go watch another movie. Thanks for watching, guys. If you liked it, please leave us a like, comment, share, subscribe, follow, all that. It does help. Thanks, guys.